Hello, boys and girls, and all you college graduates looking for a job. I'm super excited to see you here on Module 5, Posted Openings of the Life Launch Career Development Curriculum. So I'm glad you're here. So this is always a little bittersweet for me, this particular topic, because most of the job search advice you will get is about how to apply for posted openings. But I want to warn you, applying for posted openings is not a very fruitful way to find a job. It's what everybody does, but it's not that fruitful. So it amounts to about 10 to 40% of the job market. It's the small part, and I have bad news for you. It's the part of the job market with the most competition. So please watch the next module, Module 6, when we talk about the hidden job market, so that you can look at this in perspective. So make sure also that you watch Module 4, the last module on resumes and cover letters, so that you know to take all the nouns out of a posted opening and put them into your resume, and how to identify what opening you're applying for when you send your email in with your resume and a cover letter. So I'm going to assume you watched Module 4, so let's concentrate on how you win at applying for posted openings. Now, when you apply for posted openings, you kind of need to be almost perfect. I'm going to go ahead and say you need to be perfect. So when you're applying for a posted opening and it's off the mark, don't say to yourself, I'm going to get this one. Say to yourself, there's probably somebody with more exact background applying for this right now. But there's still some things you can do to become the inside candidate. The preferred method of hiring for major organizations of all types is to hire by internal referral. So your task when you have a posted opening is to find someone to refer you for that opening. So if there's a way to apply online, you do it. You apply online, but then you go to LinkedIn and you try to find alumni from your university that also work at that organization. If you don't know how to do this, it's super easy to find out. Just look for college guides for LinkedIn, and they can teach you how to find every single college graduate, the same alma mater as you, that work at that organization. Then you reach out to them and you say, I'm applying for this position. Would you refer me for it, or would you vouch for me? And that makes you an inside candidate. Next, I want you to work over your entire network, everybody you know. I'll just make up a company, let's say Google. So you say, hey, do you know anybody at Google? Go on Twitter and search for Google. Try to find anyone that you know in your extended area of contacts that works there and say, I'm looking at a position at Google. Can you tell me any more about how to work at Google or what it's like to work at Google? So that's kind of a way of getting some background information as you make your application. Now, there are some exceptions to what I call the lobbying rule. You want to lobby as much as you can as a newbie, with one exception. Academic jobs have a kind of a formula for hiring, and it's considered bad form to have people, calling and saying, hey, this is a great guy, this is a great woman, because it's just not done. So if you're applying for an academic position, a student support services role, or the kind of jobs that a new grad would take, too much lobbying is considered bad form. A very common problem when you apply for a posted opening is nothing happens at all. So you don't know where you're at in the running, and so you don't know if you're even under consideration. So how long do you wait before you send them a nudge? You don't wait more than about 10 days before you send your first nudge. So if you haven't heard anything in 10 days, send them what's called a continuing interest letter. About 10 days ago, I applied for this position. I'm very interested in it, would like to know if I'm still under consideration. And frankly, you can send that every 10 days from now on. Dear company, about 3 years ago, I applied for a position with you. I've written to you about 33 times since then. I remain very interested in this opportunity. I'm eager to know if we can move forward. That's a fine thing to do. Every 10 or 15 days, no problem at all. That's one of the things you need to do when you're applying for a posted opening. Now, when you apply for posted openings, you're going to be hostage to a thing called an ATS, or an Applicant Tracking System, ATS. So you need to play the game on the machine's point of view. Just think of it as software. Software works by rules. So, for example, if they ask for your salary history and you refuse to give it, that could be a count against you in an applicant tracking system. If they ask for a cover letter and you don't provide one, you could not even be considered, for example. So they may ask you a lot of background information that you think is irrelevant or kind of impersonal and intruding, my advice is to go ahead and fill out all those forms. And I have some tips for you. When it comes to that section for your salary history or salary requirements, if you're a young person, just pick the lowest amount of money that's on that list. So let's say 10,000 bucks. And so if that's one of the options, if you have to pick one, pick the lowest one. If you can write something in the screen, you can write discuss at interview. But don't try to guess what they're paying. So whatever it is, it's going to be, if it moves your career forward, it's a great opportunity for you. So don't obsess about things like salary anyway. You're not going to work for $10,000. You're just trying to get to the first interview. So let's say you apply for a posted opening and you're in the applicant tracking system. What else can you do? Well, frankly, you can apply to that company from 8 different directions. I actually like to use kind of the octopus model. When you see a company that you like, kind of attack it from all sides. Or, you know what's popular now is zombies. So you want to take a look, let's say that the opportunity, the company is a building. How do zombies attack a building? They go up and try the front door and they rattle it. And if that doesn't do any good for them, they try the windows and then they go around the side and then they come in the back. It is absolutely okay when you're applying for a posted opening to go ahead and try to apply in all these other methods that are in the next chapter, the next module, and any way that you can think of to apply. I've actually had candidates receive letters of rejection from companies after they've already begun to work there. Why? Because they actually had dozens of applications in at that same company. That's absolutely within the bounds. So I really, really want you to watch the next module because it has to do with some of the things that you do when you're applying for a posted opening at the same time, so that you can get a personal introduction to the recruiting manager. So I hope you'll take a look at that. But let's talk about after the interview. You have the interview, and there's a module for interviews as well, which of course you'll watch before you go to the interview. But after the interview, maybe they say, we don't really love you. You're our 7th choice person. Most people will go home and kind of fade away. As a matter of fact, most job applicants are not dinged. They fade away. A ding letter is when they write to you and say, hey, you know, we don't love you and we're not going to start loving you later. And we're not going to hire you. That's a ding letter. Most candidates actually don't get a ding letter. They just fade away and they don't make the company make a decision on them. So if somebody says to you, you're our 7th choice, I don't want you to fade away. I want you to bug them every 10 days until they either tell you, you know, come back in, we're going to interview you again. Or they say, don't contact us again, we're calling the police. Those are kind of the only 2 possible outcomes. Bug, drip, drip. Not every day, that's creepy. But every 10 days, absolutely. And a lot of time can pass before they make a decision. And they're not saying anything to you and you don't know what's going on. So I just want to walk through for you why it could take a really long time to hire somebody. They told you you're 7th choice. Let's take a look at those other people. So let's take a look at your competition, the other 6 people. So the number 1 person that they like, their first choice candidate, that's a superstar. She actually has like multiple offers immediately. She's like the prettiest girl in high school. She's going to get more than 1 opportunity to go to the prom. So that's how it is. Don't worry about the top choice person because they're going to get multiple offers and statistically they're going to take a different opportunity. So let's talk about the 2nd choice person. When people are in the job market for a while, they get really good at first interviews. So the 2nd choice person, they looked great in the first interview, but in the 2nd interview, they didn't look so good. They took that person to lunch and they ordered wine and then they told an ethnic joke and then they wiped their mouth on their tie. So they're out, forget about them. The 3rd choice person, they have a spouse problem. They said that they were willing to move to wherever this job was, but the spouse turns up not willing to move, so they're out. Then the 4th choice person, this thing I'm about to tell you, you're not ever going to forget this. The national lie rate on resumes is 25%. So the 4th choice person is a liar. Statistically, you know they are. So they lied about something and got caught, so they're out. The 5th choice person, every time someone comes up to be first choice, it takes a week or 10 days, 2 weeks. And so the 5th choice person has already got a job. When they call them, oh yeah, I'd love to do this or talk to you, but I'm already working somewhere else. And then the 6th choice person, they failed the drug test. Don't be an idiot. Don't fail a drug test. That's ridiculous. So the person that gets hired, if you're still around, is you. Being seventh choice is not a bad spot to be in as long as you nudge them and nudge them. I'm still interested, still love your company. And by the time they get to you, they could be very relieved to know that you're still enthusiastic about the opportunity. Never fade away. They either tell you you're hired or don't bother us. Otherwise, every 10 days, still love your company, still want to hear from you. That's a few things to think about when you're looking at posted openings. I hope that you'll look at the rest of the modules so you'll know the game before and after this, and especially the hidden job market. That's the next module. In my opinion, it's the most important module of all.